welcome back for Teaching Tuesday. I'm really excited this week about the topic. I've been thinking about this and I finally decided, I could turn this into a series here for you all. I want to talk to you about song arrangement. Have you ever thought about the lyrics of a song, how they are paired with a chord progression, and how they are organized into verses and choruses and bridges and whatever? That's what song arrangement is, right? And a lot of the time I think we take it for granted. We just play what's on the song chart, or we listen to the recording and copy what's on the recording without really giving thought to the choices made about which lyrics are paired with which chord progression, or how the lyrics are spaced throughout, whether lyrics are changed between one chorus and the other. And what kind of music, what kind of tempo we use, what kind of chord variations we might use, extra chords we might throw in there to give it a little bit of a different style. Or maybe, if it's in the public domain in a traditional song, we just make up new verses, right? People have done that. That's what song arrangement is. It's how you decide to put the pieces of the song together into the song that you play. And believe it or not, whether you are, this is not something limited to songwriters. You can do this as a song performer. You can do this as a song player, as a song learner, learning somebody's rendition, and then making some arrangement choices yourselves. And so I'm going to use one song as an example. It's a song I've known for a long time. It's called Bring Me a Little Water, Silvy. It was originally recorded by Leadbelly, or his name was Huddy Leadbetter, Huddy Leadbetter, also known as Leadbelly was his sort of stage name. And he was first recorded by the Lomax family. And this was one of the songs that they recorded of his. It was of a later collection. I think the recordings I found were from, what are my notes here, 1935, 1936. He recorded a version of it with his wife Martha in 1947 as well. That's sort of the first recording that we have of the song. It's very often attributed to him. I'll come back to that. But the next recording is by Harry Belafonte, and this is what got me down this rabbit hole here, because Harry Belafonte's version of Bring Me a Little Water, Silvy is so drastically different. I shouldn't say that. There are just some significant differences, including the changed lyrics. The lyrics, to me, tell a totally different story about this character who's singing this song. It was very exciting to think about. Later on, we have Pete Seeger, who recorded it in 1968. He brought in sort of a fun, more of a storyline between the person who's singing and Silvy, but basically sticks to a lot of the same original verses as Leadbelly. And then skip ahead in 1988-89, Sweet Honey in the Rock recorded it and just did an absolutely stunning choral arrangement of the song. And to me, there's still the two voices, but the way that they've separated the voices is by creating different melodies for the main character who's asking for the water and Silvy, who is talking back. And after this Sweet Honey in the Rock arrangement come a few other variations. The Waylon Jennys did a performance of it live that was recorded. I think they'd also had worked up their own. I think it's been part of their repertoire for a long time. There just aren't many recordings to point to for that. And Moira Smiley, who worked with Evie Layden, who wrote this beautiful body percussion. That's also a very popular version that I think gave it some new life in recent years as well. So all beautiful arrangements, and I love looking at each of them, listening to each of them, and thinking about what choices they were making, what kind of story they wanted to tell with these different approaches. And that's what I want to invite you to think about. So this week I'm going to share 4 different arrangements. We're going to look at the original Leadbelly arrangement. Then we're going to look at Harry Belafonte's. We're going to look at sort of the campfire arrangement that I created based on more of the choral arrangement stuff. Obviously, if we're singing around a campfire with our ukuleles, it's not going to be quite like the choral arrangement, but sort of that general direction. And then I'll close it out by sharing with you how I play it. When I play it at shows and when I try to invite the audience to sing along, I have my own little chord progression that I put to it as well. So 4 different versions of it. And as you learn each of these arrangements, I want you to think about a few things, right? So first off, in the lyrics, who's singing? Who are they singing to? And is there more than one person, right? So as I said, some of these arrangements just have one character. Some of them bring Silvy in and give her a voice. What do you notice there? In the music, what kind of emotions are evoked, right? And in the music, that could be the tempo. Is it slow? Is it upbeat? What chords are being used? Are they pretty basic chords, 2 or 3 chords, kind of more folk tuney? Or are there other chords that are worked in there? And what kind of an edge does it give the song? What kind of emotion does it evoke? And ultimately, we'll come back to the story that I asked earlier. What is the story that's being told here, right? And that's ultimately the question of the song arrangement. What's the story you want to tell? What's the feeling you want to evoke? Who's part of this conversation? Who's telling this story? And so I just encourage you to think about all of those things. And the last thing I want to say, the thing I love about talking about song arrangement is that it reminds us in this day and age when music is so commodified, we think that the song is what has been recorded onto the tape. And I'm here to tell you that's not true, but it's not 100% true, right? The song is what we play. And if there's something that I think that we've lost an awareness of since the days of the purely oral tradition, before we had any way of recording music, it's that we, the players, are as much a part of the song as the folks who wrote it. And oftentimes in the oral tradition, there were many writers. There were many people shaping the melody one way or the other, trying it out in different ways, different musical styles, adapting it to their conventions and taking it further this way or the other. Lyrics, people adding on verses, taking them out, mixing and matching them to tell the story that they want. I mentioned that this song, Bring Me Little Water, Silvy, has often been attributed to Leadbelly. He was reported to have said in his performances of it that this was a song he heard, or based on a song that he heard his uncle singing out in the fields, calling to his wife Silvy. Hard to say. Did the uncle come up with it, or was it a folk tune that was based, come from somewhere else? The beauty of the oral tradition is that it moves from person to person. Each person gives it the meaning that they wish, and they pass it on. And it's sort of this kind of communication of human meaning, if you will. And so, we don't really know. Did Leadbelly write it 100% by himself and come up with every word and every note? Probably not. But did he copy somebody else's song word for word and try to claim it for himself? Probably not, right? The reality is probably somewhere in between. And that's sort of the softness and the squishiness of the oral tradition that I secretly sort of love in this world of very hard copyrights and song ownership. Anyway, that's just a little bit of my thoughts about all of that. Welcome to this week of Bring Me Little Water, Silvy. Coming up next, as I said, we'll start with Leadbelly's arrangement and then keep checking back each day. I'll add a new arrangement for you to try. Enjoy.